Hi, it's John Vitt, and today's lesson is on Hot Pants by James Brown from the Trinity College London Initial Drums Rock and Pop syllabus. So I'm sure everyone knows who James Brown is. He's the godfather of soul, and this is one of his great funk tracks released in 1971 called Hot Pants. Now this is one of the technical focus pieces for the exam, and the two technical focus elements are consistency. So this song's got the same groove throughout the whole piece. You need to make sure it sounds consistent all the way through, and you don't play any fills or break up the groove in any way, or slow down the tempo or speed up the tempo, change the dynamic in any way, so you don't want to be going quieter or louder anywhere. You need to make sure that groove is just consistent the whole way through the track. And the other element is balance between the hi-hat and bass drum. Okay, so you need to make sure that hi-hat stays nice and light, and make sure the bass drum really punches through the groove. Okay, so this is really common in funk music. The hi-hat kind of stays low and just holds everything together, and the bass and the snare drum really punch through and give the track that groovy sound that funk music has. So if we look at the sheet music in the top left, it says technical focus, letting you know it's a technical focus piece for the exam, and underneath that it says Hot Pants, the title of the piece. Beneath that, you've got, above the stave, you've got funk. So that's the style of the piece, letting you know the style that you're going to be playing. And then next to that, you've got a crotchet equals 90. So that is the tempo of the piece. So this is telling you the tempo is 90 beats per minute, and a beat is a crotchet. Okay, so you've got 90 crotchets per minute. That's the tempo, and then next to that you've got 2 bars counting. Now that means when you play this with a backing track, you'll hear a 2-bar counting. So someone always counts in the band, because everyone needs to feel the tempo, okay? You can't just all go, ready, start playing, and everyone has to kind of play the same tempo and come in together, because obviously if that happens, people will play different tempos and it will take a while for everyone to find the same tempo. So what the counting does is it lets everyone hear the tempo of the piece, so everyone can feel that and internalize it, so when they start playing they come in at the exact right tempo. Okay, so often drummers count and you hear like 1, 2, 3, 4, so the whole band will listen to that, so they know the tempo that they're going to be playing when they start playing. Okay, so when you play with a backing track, you'll hear the counting for 2 bars. So that's going to set the tempo. So you'll hear 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's your 2-bar counting, and then that way, by hearing that, you'll know how quickly or slowly you need to play. Okay, you'll know the correct tempo you need to come in at. So underneath that, we've got our stave. So we've got our first bar of music. So you can see our percussion clef there, letting you know it's drum notation or percussion notation. And next to that, you've got the time signature of the piece, which is 4/4. So you've got a 4 at the top, which tells you there's 4 beats in the bar. So we just go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the bottom number is a 4, which tells you a crotchet or a quarter note lasts the beat. Okay, so when you see those crotchets or quarter notes, you know they last a beat. So looking at the notes in the first bar, we've got a groove. So we've got 2 rhythms. We've got the top rhythm playing quavers, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and on the hi-hat. And underneath that, the second rhythm in the first bar is a crotchet on the bass drum, crotchet on the snare drum, quavers on the bass drum, crotchet on the snare drum. So you've got the rhythm 1, 2, 3 and 4. So we've got bass, snare, bass, bass, snare. So remember, with that groove you want to keep that hi-hat a little bit quieter than the bass and snare. And if you look underneath the bar, you've got MF. So that's our dynamic. So we need to play this at MF, which is short for mezzo forte, which means medium loud, okay, or moderately loud. So that's about our normal playing level. Okay, so we've got that groove that we're going to play through now 4 times through with the metronome, just to get used to that groove and working on that consistency, and also that dynamic difference between the hi-hat and the bass and snare. Okay, so keeping that hi-hat quiet, bass drum and snare drum nice and solid, making sure the groove's really consistent. So consistent in terms of subdivision, so making sure it's evenly spaced on the hi-hat, bass and snare are in the right places, lining up with the right counts with the hi-hat, and also making sure every bar sounds the same in terms of the subdivision like we just said, and also the dynamic, okay, make sure it stays the same level. So let's try that groove now 4 times through with the metronome at the song tempo, 90 beats per minute. So if we look at the second bar, we've got the 1 bar repeat symbol, okay? So that means repeat the previous bar. So we just play that groove again, and then we've got a 1 bar repeat for bar 3 and bar 4 as well. So you can see 4 written above that 4th bar. Okay, so that's just letting you know we're playing the same groove, and it's just an easy way so you can keep count. But obviously we feel these 4 bar phrases, so we can see there that 4's just got that 4 written above it, that 4th bar's got that 4 written above it, so we know that's the 4th bar. Alright, then if we look at the second line, we've got another lot of 1 bar repeats. We've got 1 bar repeats for the whole line. So we're just repeating that groove, and as you can see at the end of the second line, you've got that 8. So that's the next 4 bar phrase that we're playing. So it just helps you keep count of all them repeats. So rather than going like, right, there's the groove, right, I've got 1 bar repeat, now I've got 1 bar repeat again, now I've got 1 bar repeat, oh no, where am I? So you'll start to feel these 4 bar phrases, so it's easier just to look at that 4 to sort of let you know, yeah, you'll play and you'll feel, okay, there's the end of 4 bars, oh look, there's the 4, I know I'm there, right, I'll play another lot, oh yeah, I can feel that's the next 4th bar, and you can see the 8, so you know where you are, okay? So we've just got 8 bars of the same groove, and as you can see at the end of that 8th bar, you've got double bar line, which means you've got a musical change. Alright? So you've got a musical change, but the drums aren't changing. So looking at line 3, we've got that same groove again. We've got 1 bar repeat through the whole line again, so you're playing that groove for 4 bars, and looking at line 4, you've got 1 bar repeats again. So you're playing it for another 4 bars, and you get that double bar line again. So the music's going to change. And looking at line 5, you've got the same groove. So the music's changing, but the drummer's just got to keep that solid, consistent groove. We've got 1 bar repeats again in line 5, so you're playing the groove for 4 bars. And if we look at the bottom line, we've got 1 bar repeats again. Up to that 8, see the 8 written there? So you know you've got that 4 bar phrase, so you're playing the groove 8 times through from line 5. And then we end with a crotchet on the hi-hat and on the bass drum. Okay, so we've got the same groove throughout the whole song. We've got the same dynamic, mezzo forte throughout the whole song. So we just need to make sure we keep it consistent. We know how to play the groove. We just need to make sure we keep it consistent in terms of dynamics and subdivision and sound. Okay, and we just need to make sure we keep count of where we are. So we've got lots of 1 bar repeats. So use those markings, those 4s and 8s, to know where you are in the music, okay? So really feel them 4 bars, and then keep glancing at the sheet music so you can see where you are. So you've got 8 bars of the groove for the first section, 8 bars of the groove for the second section, and you've got 8 bars of the groove for the final section, and then you've got that extra crotchet to finish, all right, on the hi-hat and the bass drum. So what we'll do is we'll try playing the first section, so 8 bars in time with a metronome. And now we'll try the first section, so the first 8 bars in time with the backing track. Alright, so make sure you listen to that count in and you really internalize the tempo from listening to the count in. So when you come in at the exact right tempo. Okay, keep the groove solid and consistent and let the music do the talking. Okay, the drums are just staying underneath, giving it the groove. Alright, so we're just staying consistent and solid. Right, so let's try that first 8 bars with the backing track.
Hot pants. Hey, hot pants. Look, hot pants. Smoking the hot pants. That's where it's at. That's where it's at. Sacrifice him, oh. It looks much better
So as you can see, listen to the music. It's really fun, upbeat and uplifting. So we've really got to portray that in our drumming, all right? So, and also the way you play, all right? So when you're playing, you should be feeling funky, all right? All happy and upbeat, making the music feel good, okay? So really portray that. You can't be sitting there playing like looking down all serious. You really need to portray that feel, all right? So the drums really give the track the feel, okay? They really help give it. It's not the sole instrument that gives it the feel, but it really does give it a lot of feel. So as the drummer, you've got to really portray that. You've got to feel the emotion of the track, and it really comes out in your playing, okay, when you do that. So make sure you do this, especially with music like funk, where it's so important. Okay, so right, we'll try the second section now, so the second 8 bars in time with the backing track.
It looked much better in time. Hot pants. Hey, hot pants. Look, hot pants. Sacrifice elbow. Hot pants.
And now we'll try the final 9 bars, because we've got 8 bars of the groove and then that extra 9th bar with the crotchet on the hi-hat and bass. So we'll try this in time with the backing track. Now at the end of the track, it builds up so everyone finishes on that last note together. So you need to make sure that crotchet finish is nice and solid with the rest of the band, okay? So we'll try the last section with the backing track and just make sure, yeah, the timing of that last note is spot on, because that's important. That's another thing with funk. It's really tight and crisp funk music, right? So everything is in the precise places. It's really neat and tidy. So you need to just make sure you're really tight with the rest of the band. Okay, so let's try that final section in time with the track.
Hot pants. Sacrifice elbow. Hot pants. Sacrifice elbow. Hot pants.
So now you've got all 3 sections down with the music. We'll try and play the whole piece. Okay, so keep it consistent. Keep your mind on those technical focus points, right? The consistency and also the balance between the bass and the hi-hat. Make sure that's all good. Make sure you're feeling good while you're playing it. All right, you're really portraying the feel of the music. Everything sounds fun and groovy and funky. Okay, make sure you finish strong with that final crotchet note with the rest of the band. Okay, so keep the groove solid, consistent, have fun. Let's try the whole track.
Hot pants. Hey, hot pants. Look, hot pants. Smoke in the hot pants. That's where it's at. That's where it's at. Sacrifice elbow. It looked much better in time. Hot pants. Hey, hot pants. Look, hot pants. Sacrifice elbow. Hot pants. Sacrifice elbow.